got a story for you today. I hope I look a little bit like a gypsy back in 1915. Not so sure that I do. But I have an important story that's in Meridian history that you should know. The date was January the 31st, 1915, when Kelly Mitchell, Queen of the Gypsies of North America, died. She wasn't an old lady. She was 46 years old, and her tribe had just crossed the Tombigbee River. They had stopped in a little town named Coatopa, Alabama, for the night. Sort of an ordinary day, an ordinary night. The wagons had been circled. The big roaring fire was there in the middle. The women had pulled out the cooking pots. The children ran and played. The old men were strumming along on their guitars and playing their fiddles. Just regular type night. But then Kelly, Queen Kelly, called to one of the women, not in a loud voice or even a startling voice, but rather calm and low. You see, normally she was the first one out of the wagon to start the night's cooking to see to the children, but she was still in her wagon, lying in her bed, and she called to one of the women. When her cousin Anna stuck her head into the wagon and looked at her pretty face, she knew something was wrong, terribly wrong. The Queen was several months before her due date, but she complained of a deep pain lower in her stomach, shooting down her legs. And then Anna, the cousin, saw blood trickling down her legs. And she called to the women, bring clean cloths, boil some water. I guess the tone of her voice brought the king. He pulled back the canvas flap to see what was the matter. And the look on his face told it all. They worked through the night trying to save her. Even the king called for the local doctor there in Coatopa, Alabama. He said, if you will save my queen, I will pay you $10,000. But it was not to be. She passed during the night. Now, what to do? The rest of the story is sad, and one of the largest historical events that ever happened in Meridian. Why Meridian, you might ask? Coatopa is a little town of its own. However, the king knew he must find a city with a mortuary, an ice house, and a cemetery. At the time, in 1915, Meridian had a population of 20,000 people. It was considered a city. Therefore, her body was loaded into the back of the wagon. He and his brother turned west towards Meridian. Now, Cousin Anna was concerned. What would they find when they came to Meridian? Would they be accepted? They were gypsies after all, not always accepted. But Meridian had always been friendly to them when they would pass through on their yearly traveling through the area. And so by the time everyone closed camp and followed them, the king had made all of the arrangements. Smith Mortuary would hold the line-in stay. The Episcopal Church would hold the service, and Rose Hill Cemetery would take care of the burial. Within 2 weeks, it is said 20,000 of the gypsies had arrived for her service. The weather had turned extremely cold. The line-in stay was 10 days. The service at the church was so large that people were standing all around in the churchyard. The doors and the windows of the church were flung open, where at least they could hear a little bit or see a glimpse of the funeral. The children, one by one, placed items inside her casket, items for eternity, and the youngest child, a little girl, put earrings in her mother's ears. It's all written up in a newspaper account that is loaded online if you'd like to see it. You can easily access it. But if you want to see the story in person, all the details, come out to Rose Hill Cemetery the last Saturday in September. This year, September the 25th, 7 to 9 p.m. and see the Gypsies, hear their story, and even see a replica Gypsy wagon that has been built for the cemetery tour. Come out and enjoy a historic event, really one of the largest in the area, and see some of Meridian's history back from 1915 up close and personal. The death of the Gypsy Queen, only here in Meridian, Mississippi.